Hey everyone, you should have the Frederick Douglass text open right now. If you don't remember what that is, go to your Google Drive, search for Frederick Douglass. Go ahead and pause the video and do that now. Once you have that, open this text-dependent questions document. When you click it, it's going to force you to make a copy. It's got 6 questions on it, but we're going to do the first couple together. All right. And as you can see by this document, we have to have both an answer and we have to have evidence. That's very important. We always have to have evidence to back up our answers. So let's think about strategies to use when answering text-dependent questions. Obviously, we want to read the question. So let's look at question 1. It says, why is Douglass so specific about making friends with, quote, little white boys? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to go back to the text and find the part where it says that he made friends with little white boys. If you've already reread the text, you should remember that it occurred in the first 2 sentences. If you haven't reread the text yet, go ahead, pause it, and reread it now. Okay, so right here, sentence 2, making friends, little white boys. Let's read that part again. The plan which I adopted, and the one by which I was most successful, so he had a plan for something. And his plan was to make friends with all the little white boys that he met in the street. And as many of these as I could, I converted them into teachers. Okay, so he met white boys in the street and he made them into his little teachers. Why was he so specific about them being little white boys? Well, we have to think about who Frederick Douglass is, okay? Think about the context of the story you're reading. Frederick Douglass was a slave. Slaves were largely African American. They didn't have rights. But who did have rights? White people, okay? Now, the white adults probably wouldn't have helped him because they have a lot to lose. But if you think about it, using prior knowledge, we know that kids usually are more willing to help others than adults are, as weird as that sounds. So by targeting white kids, they're more innocent. They're not like the adults. They would actually help him out. So my answer is he made friends with them because he knew he could get them to help him. Okay, so I based that mostly on just background knowledge, but let me go back to the text and see if the text tells me why they helped him. It says, with their kindly aid, that means help, obtained at different times and in different places, I finally succeeded in learning to read. So his plan worked. They taught him to read. How? Well, when I was sent on errands, I always took my book with me, and by going on one part of my errand quickly, I found time to get a lesson before my return. So he would do his chores quickly, so he had time for lessons after his chores. I used to also carry bread with me, enough of which was always in the house, and to which I was always welcome, for I was better off in this regard than many of the poor white children in the neighborhood. Okay, so he always carried bread with him because there was always a lot of bread in his house, and he was welcome to take it. That's good. I was better off than many of the poor white children. Oh, okay. So by reading the text, I can now check my background knowledge and think to myself, you know what? He targeted the poor white children because he had more bread than they did, but they had more rights than he did. So he had something they want and they had something he wants. This bread I used to bestow upon the hungry little urchins. Bestow means give. I used to give them bread. In return, they would give me bread of knowledge. Oh, okay. There's my textual evidence. Okay. So bread I used to bestow upon the hungry little urchins who in return would give me bread of knowledge. That's my evidence. He gave them bread, they gave him knowledge. Okay, so he made friends with them because he knew he could get them to help him. White kids knew how to read, that's important. And he had bread that they wanted. Okay, you guys see how I talked you through all my thoughts there. You know, I reread the text, I thought about my background knowledge, and I found evidence to answer that question. Okay, and I've also answered the question of how he learned how to read while running errands. Okay, he did them quickly, so he would have time afterwards. Boom, done. Then just copy and paste the evidence from the text where it says he did his errands quickly and you're good to go.